Salutations and welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Reneé Hunter Vasquez and I'm joined as always by my co-hosts, my husband and my brother.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
Hi, I'm Travis Hunter.
This week we're recording live from a Puritan plantation discussing the 2015 period horror folktale, The Witch. This movie is written and directed by Robert Eggers and stars Anya Taylor-Joy in her first feature film role as Thomasin, Ralph Ineson as William, Kate Dickie as Catherine, and Harvey Scrimshaw as Caleb. This film was suggested to us by friend of the show, Matt Carrillo. Matt is the owner and CEO of Yours Cruelly Records. They have some upcoming projects, so be sure to check them out on Facebook. So what did you guys think of The Witch the first time you saw it?
You know, honestly, the first time I saw it, it was less about my personal experience watching it and more about what people told me about it before I watched it.
I remember the whole reason that I really wanted to see it was because Stephen King said that it scared him.
Did he?
Yeah, he tweeted that it scared the hell out of him, I think is what he said.
Interesting.
And I was like, I have to see this movie. And that's pretty much the only reason I watched it.
I just remember it was one of those things, like all my friends were like, have you seen The Witch? Have you seen The Witch yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't seen it.
Is that why you made me watch it?
Yeah.
But, I mean, having watched it the first time, I will say, watching it the first time and watching it this time, I had massively different experiences.
I did too.
I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention the first time I watched it or what, but there was a lot of detail that I flat out missed and caught this time around.
It's been a few years, but I remember watching it the first time and being like, oh, that was good and that was different or whatever. But watching it this time, I was like,
all right.
Oh, okay, The Witch. Like, all right. I see you.
And, you know, part of it might be we loved Eggers' The Lighthouse.
Oh, yeah.
So much that maybe going back, we're like, we have more respect for him as a filmmaker, period.
Maybe.
So we have to pay more attention.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I remember when we watched it, we were both like, holy shit, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. We didn't even...
But then even being like, wow, that was really good. We never talked about it again. We never bought it. We never watched it again.
No, yeah.
Like it was just a little moment and then we kind of just moved on, which is weird.
Well, even this time, I will say, this isn't the kind of film that you watch it and you're like, I'll watch The Witch again.
No, yeah.
It's just
I'll agree with that.
You know, like... I finished watching The Exorcist. I can watch The Exorcist again immediately after.
Right.
Yeah.
This just isn't one of those movies. And not anything against it for that, but it's just not one with a high level of rewatchability, especially immediately.
No, yeah.
Definitely not immediately, yeah. No, it's a movie to marinate on for a while, I think.
I will say there's something in the water at A24.
Man.
Because it seems like everything they touch... It's just quality.
Yeah.
And this was made, 2015?
2015,
So this didn't start that revolution, but in my mind, it's kind of at the beginning of it, where you get this, Hereditary, The Lighthouse. Like, it's just like
you see their logo and you're like, all right, like, I'm in.
I trust you. Take me wherever you're taking me, A24. I'm on board.
And I think
is it the same studio?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I think I had said this when we were talking about It Follows, maybe, when I had said that Robert Eggers is one of those writers and one of those directors where if I see his name, I don't really need to know anything else about the project. I'm going to see it. Like he's him, Mike Flanagan, Ari Aster, of course, all of them. If I see their name,
I'm already on board.
They're unique. They're smart.
Yes.
I will invest my time and my money into whatever they want to put their name on.
They've earned your trust.
Definitely. And this is his first movie. So that kind of starts with this for him.
Baby's Day Out.
Baby's Day Out. And what a day out. Now, before we snatch this movie into the woods, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Podmortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, then let's get goatin'. So the film opens on Thomasin's face. We're here with the family. I guess I should explain the family dynamic.
Yeah.
They're at a hearing, and it's the family that's the core of this film. There's the dad, William, the mom, Catherine. Their oldest daughter is Thomasin. Then the next child is Caleb. Then they have two twins, Mercy and Jonas. Mm-hmm. Then they have a baby named Sam.
Big family.
It's a big family.
It was the 1630s.
Yes.
Prophylactics were not
popular.
No. Just put it that way.
Yeah.
And it's colonial court, like with pilgrims.
Yeah, they're
These
pilgrims.
old ass people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they're at some kind of hearing, and the dad, William, is being reprimanded for... I'm not entirely sure.
There's some kind of religious disagreement.
Yeah.
But it's two groups. The family is religious, the court and
Very religious.
the town are religious. So the squabble has to be over
It
something.
was probably something very
so
trivial
minute.
and stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was confused about it at the beginning. I was like, are they going to say exactly what's happening?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
just kind of don't.
I'm sure it's really stupid, and it kind of ends with the family being banished.
Yeah, they're
like
banished
out
from
of
the town.
the plantation, the town,
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
I did think it was interesting. This film went through great lengths to be historically accurate for the period. Mm-hmm. And so to see Caleb wearing what's basically like a Puritan beanie, I'm like, that means that they wore those back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
That's
very
very interesting
interesting.
to me.
So the family's banished, and we get the shot of them kind of leaving on their wagon and looking at the town as
Right.
they're leaving. Mm-hmm. And the music is really really
Yeah.
creepy and really good and atmospheric. Like throughout the whole movie, it's like unsettling.
I think the music's kind of on another level because it's not your standard score.
No, not at all.
It's way more about tones
Mm-hmm.
and feeling than it is about like songs, so to say.
Yeah.
And vocals. There's a lot
Yeah,
of choir.
I
There's a
noticed
lot
that,
of
yeah.
choir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that. I'm
Yeah,
not
I do
gonna
too,
lie, I
yeah.
like that.
I'm a big fan.
So we see the family on their journey. They're camping kind of in this open field, and they get up in the morning and they're praying. And then I guess we kind of move forward in time, and we see that they've built a farm.
So I understand. I mean, they were pilgrims. They literally came over on a boat.
Yeah, with nothing.
So I guess just finding land and just setting up shop
Here's
is kind of
good.
their fucking
bread and
bread
butter.
and butter. Yeah.
Bread and churned butter.
And I thought it was ridiculous because, like, William just knew how to build a house and knew
Yeah.
how to build a farm. I guess you just had to have those skills back then
Back
to
then,
survive.
I guess. Yeah.
I know if
But they built the farm. They have a goat house. They
Yeah.
have a house. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like
They're
little.
not Amish, right? They're just...
no, they're Puritans.
No, yeah, this
Yeah.
was, yeah.
And
how
it-
the fuck they build a house that fast?
I don't know. And it looks like some stuff is still in progress.
Yeah.
The roof isn't done.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but the only thing I was thinking as I was watching that is like, man, it would suck to live in those times.
It
oh,
would
no,
be
yeah.
Like,
horrible.
and not just
Even
because
not comparatively.
of technology
yeah.
and modern
No,
conveniences,
it would be
Yeah.
horrible.
but
I don't know. I wouldn't mind living out in a log cabin in the woods,
I would.
but I would still want internet and cable and
Like,
all
have
that.
you
Right.
not seen the Blair Witch Project? Or
But they're not living out there. They go out there looking for bad shit.
they're out. It's all out there. I'm not trying to be out there.
woods
Woods. X.
just period.
Cross it.
Oh,
Take it off the map.
Yeah.
Take it off the map.
No, it's
Crazy.
nice to look at, not nice to live in.
Yeah.
Not nice to live out.
That's all right.
So we have Thomason kind of praying and confessing everything that she feels that she's done wrong, that she's idle, she's disobedient, she's broken every commandment in her mind.
Yeah.
She's praying for mercy and praying for forgiveness. And I feel like this is really effective in showing us. I mean, we're already taught at the beginning that William is very religious.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of a cool way to show us, look, the kids are like, they're soaking in this.
yeah,
This is
it's not just
this is
William.
their family. Yeah,
right,
this
right,
is
right.
this is how, I'm idle. I'm gonna pray and beg for forgiveness. Like,
Yeah,
this
they're
is very serious.
equally devout.
Yes, all of
throughout.
them. Yeah.
And that's important because seeing that kind of answers some questions for you later.
Yes.
So it's very important that they have that scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we see shots of the family while Thomason is praying. They're working on the land, and Catherine is breastfeeding Sam, which is really funny because she was Liza in Game of Thrones,
Right.
who was breastfeeding her like almost grown son.
At least this is
That's right. That's because I was like, man, that lady looks familiar. And
Yeah.
I couldn't remember where the hell we had seen her from.
It's like she has a clause in her contract.
Yeah,
Look,
I gotta breastfeed.
If I'm not blasting a boob,
Yeah.
I ain't
It's
showing up.
All right, somebody's got to
hard
suck on
task.
this titty. It was like, this is...
What's her name? It's like Kate Dickey doesn't show up.
Kate Dickey brings the Kate titty. Anyway, I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
As that, we're seeing how the family dynamic kind of is. And then we get another shot of the woods, which is very close to the house. And we hear, like we were saying before, the women's chorus singing.
Right.
It sounds like a bunch of female voices singing.
It is unnerving.
Very.
And I will say,
and like beautiful.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
in an eerie way.
Yes.
It's very nice. But that shot of the trees with that chorus, that's when I noticed that the aspect ratio was different than a typical film.
Really?
It did not take up the whole screen.
No, right.
Like
I didn't
there's
notice that at all.
bars on the edges
Yeah.
that you notice. I read the cinematographer said they did that on purpose. They chose a different aspect ratio so it would have like a timelessness to it, I guess, is what they said. I read that on IMDb. But I don't know if it's like a subconscious unnerving to not have your screen filled up all the way. But it was enough to catch me off guard a little bit looking
How
at
weird.
it.
I didn't even notice that. Later on, Thomason takes the baby, Sam, her little brother, not into the woods, but outside.
Right.
Kind of woods adjacent.
Right.
And she's playing peekaboo with him. She covers her eyes and then peekaboo and then she covers her eyes and then she takes her hands off of her eyes and Sam is just fucking gone.
The baby's quick.
Yeah. Dude, whoever snagged that kid, fastest
my
hands
God,
in the West.
That is
Yeah, that was quick.
Usain Bolt, I think.
that made it even scarier. 'Cause
No, yeah.
It was really unexpected and it had to have been so fast.
But the thing is that you see, as she looks off into the woods, there's like the tussle.
There's
That's what I was going to
Yes.
ask.
Yeah.
If I was just tripping or if the
No.
bushes moved a little bit.
No,
when
they
she
did.
looked, okay.
I think
Yeah.
that's what was interesting to me is that you see them move, but you don't see what made the movement.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's eerie on
Yeah.
its own.
You don't hear the baby. You don't
Nope.
anything. Just...
And it was straight up in the shot just before the baby is missing. You hear the kid laughing. The baby
Yeah.
is laughing,
Yeah.
and then suddenly it's just gone.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very eerie.
Well, she goes up, I guess, kind of closer to the woods and she does hear Sam.
Yes.
Yeah. Then we see that Sam is naked, the
Right.
baby, and with a naked woman,
Yeah, like an old
Yeah.
woman.
old
Yeah.
woman, and she has a knife on the baby's stomach.
Yeah.
So already you're like, this isn't good.
No.
Then you see her kind of grinding up
Red
red stuff.
paste.
Yeah.
So she's like making baby food for the baby?
yeah,
Alright.
it's strawberries.
Yeah, man.
just raspberry jam.
He's a Gus. It's like, we gotta,
Yeah, we got to feed him well.
yeah, we gotta take care of you.
So she grinds up, presumably
The
Sam,
baby.
Yeah.
and is rubbing it all over her body.
Right.
So is that what we gotta do to stay young?
I mean, clearly.
Is like grind up babies?
I heard it worked for Elizabeth Bathory. But that was grown women.
Yes, yeah.
The baby, that's a new.
She's trying to look even younger.
Here's the thing that's very interesting to me. Like, I don't know a lot about witchcraft in particular, necessarily.
Yeah.
Where do the recipes come from?
It has to
say,
be word of
this
mouth.
This is what this does.
It has to be handed
But
know
I'm,
what I mean?
I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't think about it until now. But they always do usually eat the baby or like kill the baby and on fire or whatever. This bitch rubbed the baby's
Yeah.
insides on her.
Ground him up.
Because usually, like I said, it's, the Hansel and Gretel, I'm going to eat you
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. Or it's,
Like the kid would be a pie.
Right.
Yeah.
But-
or even add Tales from the Dark Side.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, she was trying to eat.
Yeah.
Trying to eat him.
Yeah.
But no, this is different. It's
Yeah.
I'm gonna rub yourself.
I
on
feel like
me.
it's the same basic principle. It's just a more gruesome and more morbid execution.
I did read that because this movie is so historically accurate, it's ridiculous. They read that these are things that, quote, witches, unquote, at the time were accused of doing
Right.
for the purpose of what we're about to see. What they refer to it on Wikipedia as is a flying ointment. And that's what the baby's remains are used to make. So she rubs it on herself, and it gives her the ability to fly, which is what we see in the next scene. And it's honestly one of my favorite shots in the whole film is she's, you see a shot of this giant moon.
Yeah.
And then she's slowly making her way towards it, and just from the back you see her start to levitate in like towards the moon, and it's so eerie.
Yeah.
But it's such a great shot.
See, I had read it as, or not actually read, but I interpreted it as a youth situation.
I did too, especially for what we see later.
Yeah. And the next scene, Caleb's waking up and everyone in the house is asleep. Thomason's having a nightmare. So, of course, Caleb takes the opportunity to look at her breasts. And then
That happens
a couple times.
It's a little weird. It's very weird.
I guess there's nobody else there. I mean, I don't know.
I guess, but
I
I mean,
know.
God damn, dude, that's your sister. You're just gonna sit there like, oh, what's going on into that shirt? It's like it's your sister.
And he does it like
He does it a couple times.
it's like his only pastime.
What church did they come from? What
don't-
is happening
Maybe
over
that
there?
was the disagreement they
Yeah,
had.
like you got to tell your kid to stop, and he's
right.
like, "We are."
We follow Christ. So after being a little pervert, he does wake her up and kind of console her, and
She's having a nightmare.
Yeah.
He wakes her up to put her back to sleep.
tells her to go back to sleep. Yeah.
Now she's scared and mad.
God damn it, you should
Not
just let
gonna,
me
yeah,
sleep.
just let me wake up natural. Come on.
We can hear Catherine sobbing,
Right.
Yeah.
understandably. Caleb goes outside, and William is sitting in their cornfield,
Right.
tiny cornfield, and tells Caleb, to let his mom rest or whatever because she hasn't slept since,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he elaborates to say, look, we can't be looking for Sam anymore. Like,
No, yeah.
Yeah. And Ralph Ineson
yeah.
has the coolest voice
Chris Finch.
of all time. Yeah, all UK
Finchy.
Office fans. He is Chris Finch. Never would expect, from
No.
what I saw him do on The Office, never would expect to see him in this kind of role. But he should narrate everything.
No, an amazing, amazing voice. Also, I never noticed this until watching this time, but looks a bit like Shane Madej from BuzzFeed
He
Unsolved.
does, actually. He really does. That's very fair.
He's also got a bitchin' duster on now.
He does, yeah. Dennis Reynolds would be jealous.
Yeah.
He would be. So he says that Sam is definitely dead. If he wasn't killed by a wolf or something, he starved to death. We got to close that chapter and just let it go.
Right. Oddly, not as broken up as I would anticipate him being.
Nope.
I don't know if that's just a character trait or maybe he's being strong for his family. But I'm like,
Probably.
shed a tear, damn.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's rough.
I also kind of think that their story of a wolf having taken the baby is marginally worse than.
What actually?
Yeah, because if you're like, you're like something took the kid. That's bad, obviously. But if someone took the kid, maybe they're raising the kid. Maybe
Yeah.
the kid's alive, maybe the kid's, whatever. But if a wolf took your kid's not raising it like the wolf's not
No.
raising it like a cub.
Yeah,
No.
it's
Right?
dead.
Definitely not.
I would,
And that's kind of scary that a wolf could just soundlessly come, snatch the child,
Yeah.
and then
yeah,
disappear
it's
into the
it's
woods.
harder to explain.
It's a little unrealistic, I'd say, but I mean, I guess you gotta put a name to it. You have to put,
I guess.
he can't just have disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't know. But William tells Caleb that they're gonna go out into the woods, and it's kind of known at this point that they're not allowed to go into the woods.
Right.
Caleb
Yeah.
is like, but you basically said we were forbidden.
Yeah, they can't go in there.
And William's like, look, if we can't grow food, we got to go hunt it.
And Catherine would not be on board.
No, not at all.
No.
So Caleb and William go into the woods, and the twins are playing outside back at the house. Thomason is inside, and she can hear Catherine just sobbing and praying.
Yeah.
I guess she decides to go do some chores, as I would.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Let-
can't.
Let's
you're not just
remove
gonna stay
ourselves,
inside and listen to
from
that.
this
Yeah.
situation.
Very upsetting.
So William and Caleb, I guess they're father-son bonding in the woods as William quizzing Caleb on, I don't even know.
I don't know either.
Religious,
William speaks in poetry.
yes. Yes.
Honestly. So it's like I am very good at understanding accents.
Yeah.
But there were times watching this film that I was very glad that I had the subtitles on. I'll just put it that way.
Well, because they spoke very, as you were saying, historically accurate.
Yes,
I
and-
read that even a lot of lines that came from this movie were from journals of this time. So they spoke completely accurately
Right.
to how they spoke.
I think
in
that just must be
16
like
whatever.
a Robert Eggers staple because he did the exact
He
same thing
did.
for the
You're
Lighthouse.
right.
So I mean,
And some of that shit was undecipherable. Like,
yeah.
I gotta tell you, John Paul has not seen The Lighthouse, but
But the thing is that it works and it lends a sort of believability
Yeah.
to the film.
but some of it you're like, say what now?
Yeah. But it works very well in this movie.
Definitely. They come upon the traps that William had set, and they're closed, but they're empty. So they reset the traps, and Caleb starts asking William, how was Sam born into sin when he didn't even do anything? Like, basically saying, like, how does that work?
He's been watching a lot of YouTube.
He's asking
starting to
questions.
think outside the box.
Caleb is awoke.
That's what's confusing too, though, because we're not supposed to be born into sin, or we're not supposed to be sinners as kids. It's not like even the Bible is the sins of the father aren't the sons. I don't understand.
But that's I mean, you got to think back to the Puritan belief in the 1630s.
We're all dirty. We're all
You
I took a
sinners.
shower. I'm not dirty. What the fuck you talking
But
about?
they had to repent for literally everything they did,
That's
and they had to
nuts,
do so
though.
publicly, and they had to do so.
So their whole thing is you can't do anything wrong. Like you have to.
Or nearly everything you do
is wrong.
Oh, so you can't be
No,
like pure. Period. You're
no.
what kind of fucking religion is that?
Yeah, that's not very cash money, you guys.
Yeah. No.
No, and it that's why it makes more sense at the beginning that even the smallest
Right.
difference
That's
Yeah.
why they
will
That's
get
it.
you kicked out of
Yeah.
town. That's
Nuts,
you know,
man.
and it could have just been anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Caleb is upset and asking questions, and William is like, don't talk about Sam anymore. Like, that's enough. Which is like, damn, dude, like,
But it could be, again, him trying to put on that face. And
It
he's
could
like,
be, but
if
you're-
you keep talking about him, maybe he can only talk about him to a
so
point
much, yeah.
before he's like, look, I
But
Yeah.
am trying to be strong for you, so shut
stop.
the hell up.
Yeah. Caleb doesn't shut the hell up.
No.
And he's like, so is he in hell? If I die right now, I have sin in my heart. Am I going to hell? Like, he's troubled. He's disturbed.
Yeah.
Understandably so.
No. Yeah. That's crazy.
And William's basically like, I don't know. Like, I can't answer these
Yeah.
questions for you. After all this religious talk, William admits to Caleb, and this is important later,
Yes, very.
that he, in order to pay for the hunting supplies that they're using right now, he stole Catherine's
I guess fathers.
clearly beloved, her father's silver cup, sold it, and bought the hunting equipment. He tells Caleb, shut the fuck
Why
up.
don't you tell anybody about this? Yeah. Yeah.
Do not tell your mother
You remember
about
that
this.
Pip cup that was so
Right.
Yeah, that
It's
shallous-
gone.
Yeah. Her
Shallous.
father was Little John.
Sir, Little John.
Yes. 1630.
So we go back to the farm for a second, and Thomason is doing chores. She's gathering eggs, and one of the eggs, I guess, falls
Right.
Yeah.
and cracks open, and there's a dead chick inside.
Right.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's got to be a bad omen.
Gotta be a bad omen.
There's no way that's ever meant anything.
It's,
No.
it's like when the toast falls jelly side down. It means something bad's gonna
Nothing's that
happen.
bad,
Nothing's
but
that
it's
bad.
almost that bad.
Almost as bad.
It's not jelly bad. Just a dead bird.
So we flash back to the woods, and their dog, Fowler, finds a rabbit, and William is very excited.
The rabbit's eyes have a humanness to them.
Ugh.
No, I noticed
catch
that
that?
too.
Okay.
Because when they show the rabbit, I was like, this rabbit looks funny. I was like, this
No,
he looks
his-
weird.
Its eyes were brown like mine.
No,
Like,
yeah,
it was like
is.
it was
The-
eerie,
yeah.
dude.
Horrifying.
And it comes up later. I'll mention it.
Okay, cool. So William's really happy. He gets his complicated ass gun ready to shoot this rabbit.
It had like a tube.
I don't know.
Yeah, it had like a piece of string to it or
Yeah.
some shit.
I don't know what. I don't know.
He had to charge it up before.
Yeah,
Wind it up.
Yeah.
yeah. And Caleb's like, it's almost out. I'm like, what's almost
I don't-
out? I guess I don't understand firearms.
So he loads up, winds up, gets his gun ready, and I guess it misfires and hurts his eye.
Yeah, it backfires into his
Yeah,
eye.
when he's trying to. But I mean, he doesn't really seem to be injured later on.
No,
so.
but I will say it's a little messed up because as that happens, he's like, "Damn it, Fowler!
I know.
Don't blame the
Fowler
dog.
didn't do anything.
The
He
dog
showed you
just
the rabbit.
ran out,
He
Yeah,
did.
it's like, come on, man.
Fowler took the gun out hunting yesterday.
Exactly.
And fucked
He
it all
forgot
up.
to tie the string. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
So the rabbit runs off, obviously. And back at home, the twins, who are the happiest children in the world, are chasing around the family goat, who is named Black Phillip.
Right.
They're singing songs about him. They're calling him a king.
They're singing
Some disturbing ass
No.
shit.
They know what's going on before
See,
anybody.
And
I have a lot to say about the twins.
I did not catch that until this time around.
Yeah.
The lyrics of the song. And, okay, here's the deal. Whenever I hear them singing this song, because this is so period accurate, I'm like, is this a song that kids sang in the
Right.
1600s? So I looked it up. I could not find anything on it. The only thing I did find was on the website Quora, somebody asked a question to the entire internet. They were like, hey, what are the lyrics to the song about Black Phillip? And Robert Eggers answered
Oh my
it.
God.
He was the one that answered the post.
Holy shit.
And so he did all the lyrics, and the lyrics are terrifying.
Really?
Oh no!
Yeah.
Well, if you listen
No,
to what
just
they're
hearing
saying,
them, yeah, but I'm going
They're
to look
about
that
being
up.
Oh,
a
yeah.
king above the sea,
They say that he's the king of all.
of the land, all this stuff. And then they said the lyric that really got me was, a crown grows out his head.
I don't like that at all.
That's terrifying.
the horns.
Yeah.
But
That's disturbing as hell.
So in this universe, did the kids write that song? And they had to rehearse it together because they
What?
were singing
No, they
in
have that
unison.
twin thing.
Yeah, maybe.
They
just
didn't need to rehearse
mind
it.
power, yeah.
What else do they have to do?
Fair point.
Let's be clear.
Like, are we going to run around and sing or are we going to sit here?
they're the
not-
Jackson 2. They were born to perform.
They're not playing an Xbox. They're not,
No.
very limited options. We're going to sing about a goat today.
Yeah, I noticed that this time too. Because before I was like, this is a weird ass song they're singing. But when I paid attention this time when I watched it, I was like, they're singing about that goat.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, and that goat looks like it's up
He's
to some
like,
shit.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and I'm like, oh, they're singing about the devil.
Directly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, that's what the fuck? I was
Yeah.
like,
Where did y'all
who-
learn that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, who taught you?
And nobody's
that
asking
shit?
any questions.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
How do you not, as a parent,
Just-
you hear if you hear the kids singing some shit like that? Wouldn't you be like, hey? You need to come home from work and talk to the kids.
We need to have an
Yeah.
exorcism. What a wonderful day for an exorcism. So Thomason is telling him to, chill out, stop. They're not listening. They're having the
Right.
time of their life. So William and Caleb come back from hunting, and the kids get in trouble for fucking around with the goat.
Right.
And William tries to put Black Phillip back in his pen and ends up falling on his ass. And the twins love it.
Oh,
They-
this
Oh,
is-
no, yeah, they're laughing.
This is Impractical Jokers to them. They love it. And what makes me laugh is William goes, I'll have thee quiet, which I guess is colonial for shut the
Shut
fuck
the
up.
fuck
Yeah.
up.
He was embarrassed.
Oh yeah, no, he's already shot himself in the eye.
Yeah.
Like
It's
he's
I
having
embarrassed
a
myself in front
day.
of Caleb. Now the twins see
Yeah.
this. I'm losing all my clout.
But then Thomason gets in trouble for not watching the twins, which she had tried, but they weren't listening to her.
Yeah, how is that fair? I feel like Thomason is very put upon.
Definitely.
And
Yeah, the mom was really. I mean,
Yeah.
and I get it, and it's not like she gave the baby away, Sam or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She was watching the baby, and some shit happened.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that she's put upon because even after they scold her for not, I guess, having a firmer hand with the twins, she in front of them is like, hey, stop laughing at him or whatever. And they're like, shut up. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
what the
understand.
fuck?
She's like, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she can't
win.
She cannot win.
No.
So to explain where they had been, Caleb lies. And instead of saying that they were hunting in the woods, tells Catherine that he thought he saw an apple tree in the valley. but there weren't no apples.
This is the oldest ass lie.
We were in the
I've ever
valley.
heard. Well, there's nothing to lie about back then. Oh,
No.
well, we were at the bar. Oh, we went to the grocery store. No.
I thought I saw some apples.
There was an apple tree there, and
I know you like apples.
Turns out, plot twist, no apple tree.
Sorry,
which
Mom.
is why we didn't bring back apples.
But William just stands there and lets him lie.
Yeah.
Which, like, we've already seen William lie. We've seen him steal.
I think that confused me. Is you've got Thomason who's got your back, and you scold her for that. Caleb flat out lies to your wife.
But he lied for William.
Yeah, but
he
it's
lied
still
for
a lie.
him.
You're supposed to be this devout
but then he
1630s Puritan.
He shouldn't be stealing silver
But
cups
maybe-
either.
Yeah, and he also stole.
But
Damn.
maybe that's too why he had the difference with the church. Maybe he was like, "Hey, are
Maybe
you
he
sure we're
interprets
all
things his own
born
way.
in sin? Are you sure? Because we do a lot of good stuff, but you guys say we're not good enough."
See,
Maybe.
and that's an
We don't
issue because they
know.
were never clear about
Yeah,
why.
we don't
Because
know.
if he's willing to let his son lie, and he's like, "Well, he's covering my ass, and he's doing it for a good reason. We're trying to put food on the table."
Yeah.
If we say that, she's gonna freak out.
Yeah.
So we're doing this
Maybe
for the
he's
family.
a little more lax.
Yeah,
than-
Then
maybe he
maybe
has
that-
questions.
Yeah.
Maybe
you
that
know?
was the issue. That's a good point. I'd like more elaboration.
I would
yeah,
too. Yeah, that's true. But as punishment for her crime of sticking up for her father, Thomason is sent to go wash his muddy
Yeah.
clothes.
Now, when she takes his shirt off, he doesn't help her at all.
That too. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was, and I know it sounds weird, but it was really like uncomfortable
It
to watch.
was. It went on forever.
It
Her
was
getting
almost like a, like
It was-
take it off, winch.
Yeah,
it was like
it
that's
was-
your
no.
daughter.
It was
you don't
very
wanna just be
uncomfortable.
like, here,
yeah,
go watch this.
Take my shirt.
Yeah, not take it off me.
Yeah, like it
I
was
was like,
weird,
what?
and
Yeah.
it kind of plays into something that the mother says later.
And I know exactly what
Yes.
you're talking about. But William starts chopping wood
With the sheet on.
Yeah.
What?
with the sheet on.
It is, right? He's got
No,
like a sheet
he's got a sheet
or
on
something.
the lower half of his
yeah,
body.
He's just chopping wood.
And he's chopping some wood.
He's
Yeah.
chopping some broccoli. And he's
Chopping
all right.
broccoli
He's just-
in his towel.
Yeah.
Thomason goes to wash his clothes and
Dude, the limits of the time period, because she's like, all right, let me go wash these dirty clothes in the dirtiest part of the
Yes.
fucking river. And that makes sense.
that's all they have.
Yeah.
Man. Caleb goes down there to get some water while she's doing the laundry and
He peeks
takes his
at
little peek.
he peeks at some cleave.
He peeks at some cleave.
He is addicted. He's got a fever.
A tit-tit.
yeah.
Oh god.
You deflated me. Physically deflated.
But it's weird because you're right. He does do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she catches him. And then
And-
doesn't like, what are you doing, you little pervert? She's like, come here.
Yeah.
well, because
she
Come
I
here.
don't know. Does she catch him?
No,
she,
yeah.
she straight up catches him,
yeah,
and then she's
she
like,
sees him.
she's like, what are you doing? Kind of.
Yeah,
Instead of
kinda
being like,
sheepishly like,
Well, because
Yeah.
he seemed upset, and so I thought it was like a motherly, like.
I
It's no
don't
excuse.
know,
oh, wait a minute, I'm in a bad mood. Like, fucking no.
yeah.
You little creep.
No,
What
yeah,
are you
that's-
here for? I'm cleaning fucking shirts. What do you got going on? Why
that
are you
was-
even here?
I heard there was some titties down by the river.
Thought I'd take my chances. No, get the fuck out. Go back to the shack.
Yeah,
Which
no
was just like the
shit.
apple tree.
'Twas fruitless.
Jeez, man.
Anyway, she does tell him to come here, and she's kind of consoling him because he seems upset. And then we hear a rustling in the grass, and fucking Mercy is back on her bullshit.
Dude, yes.
Talking about, I be the witch of the wood. She's acting a fool.
I thought it was very odd that she's talking all this witch stuff. I'm like, how do you know any of this? Are these stories that are already being told? When were the Salem witch trials? When did, witches and hysteria begin over this subject? How do you know anything about any of this?
And why are neither of your parents giving a shit that you're saying
they don't
this
mind
weird
at
ass
all.
shit? Yeah.
Now, she's one-upped by Thomason.
She is. But before Thomason flips it and reverses it, she's like, why am I in trouble and washing these clothes for something that you did? And Mercy goes, because Mother hates you.
And
Oh, yeah.
And
no lies detected.
no lies detected. Lie detector test determined she was
That's-
telling the truth. And then she goes, Black Phillip says, I can do whatever I want.
And
No questions asked.
that's just
That's fine.
what?
Yeah, you wouldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be. Who the fuck is Black Phillip? What?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking to ghosts now. That's cool.
No,
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Nobody has any questions
There's
about
something
it.
else. She says that Thomason gave Sam to a witch, and Caleb's like, now hold on, it was a wolf. And she's like, no, I've seen a witch. Nothing.
Again, no. Explain this to me, please.
Mercy, what the hell are you talking about?
Yes.
So this is when Thomason puts her thing down, flips it, and reverses it. And she's like, no, I be the witch of the wood. I'm going to eat you. I'm going to witch the family. I did give Sam away to the witch. I'll do the same shit to you.
Did you say I signed the book?
I signed the devil's book.
Which, again, this is too specific. Why?
How do you know what that means?
Yeah, I don't.
What is that?
Yeah. It's
So-
like I figured it would kind of be like the Walking Dead universe where nobody knows anything about zombies. Shit just starts happening and they're like, I don't know what to call these things.
No, they're very well
Like,
versed.
yeah, everybody knows everything about
Very
witches
well
here.
versed in witchcraft.
Very interesting.
Mercy finally gets scared and leaves, and Thomason even tells Caleb, like, get out of here, leave me alone.
But she tells Mercy, no, don't fucking tell
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
Because it could look really bad.
Especially if
me.
things start getting worse.
Yes.
So in the next scene, William is saying grace. They're all sitting down to dinner. Off the rip, Catherine accuses Thomason of taking her silver cup.
Yeah.
I even made a note. I was like, damn, she blamed her
Off the
immediately.
rip.
There was no, and then William sits there like a punk.
William just sits there.
Just not saying anything. And I'm sorry, but Catherine's like, I saw you trifling with it. What are you going to do with a cup?
Yeah,
She's like
no
fucking
shit.
playing.
But-
Like,
That's clearly,
what do you do?
clearly it's the only nice thing
I
they
guess
have.
Catherine's obsessed with
She
this
was
thing.
basking in its grace,
Just,
I guess.
Damn, that's a good cup.
She's going hard at Thomason
Mm-hmm.
and tells her, okay, so did a wolf vanish that too?
Yeah,
Ouch.
That's a deep cut.
That's too much.
Yeah.
So then William finally speaks up and he's like, she didn't take it. That's
Yeah.
it.
But I also want to make mention of their dinner was the definition of our daily bread.
Yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
were
Yeah,
eating
no,
scraps.
Yeah. Well, William made it clear that nothing's
have
growing.
nothing.
Yeah, and he shot himself in the eye. Maybe we're eating his eye for dinner. He's like, we're eating rabbit. And instead of confessing that he's the one that took the cup, he's like, look, we're just gonna read the Bible extra tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, because he feels guilty. He's trying to
It's for
atone. He's
himself.
like, yeah, I mean, we should all read. Yeah, all of us. Because we've all
Every-
sinned equally.
Not one of us is not lying way more than the other one. Definitely
especially not about a cup of any kind.
What is a cup? I don't know what a cup is. So to make matters even worse for Thomason, we hear goats, and Catherine's like, "You didn't bed the goats down?"
Like, damn it.
She's like, "God,
yeah.
trying to
Fucking
eat
the
my
middle of
fucking
the
bread.
night,
Yeah. I have one bite to eat.
Yeah.
Can I please
Can I
finish?"
just can I eat that bite? Can I do it after dinner, please? Jeez.
Yeah, that was rough though.
Quit climbing up my ass, Mom.
Just tearing pieces of bread. You can't even have
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Dude, yeah.
It's like,
It was
yeah.
rough.
That was rough. Smallest things. They let her get away with nothing.
Nothing,
Yeah,
man.
that.
So when Thomason goes outside, there's a rabbit in the. Was it the rabbit?
I believe so. It had the same human
Yeah,
eyes.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, those eyes are brown. That's not a rabbit. Eyes. Rabbit's eyes.
Rabbit's eyes.
Yeah.
Inside, I guess later that night,
Uh-huh.
William and Catherine are going to bed. It seems like all the kids sleep on the floor in one room.
Above.
Yeah, right
Right?
above them.
And yeah, they have their own room
William did not do a proper floor plan
in building
on this scrap house. Let's just put that.
Oh yeah.
Five kids to one room?
Yeah,
Because the baby would have probably been up there with them
Yep.
too at the time. So
yeah. So Catherine says that they never should have left the plantation,
Right.
which clearly is true.
she's, no food.
She says that Thomason is at the age now where she needs to go and work for another family. She doesn't need to be there anymore. She needs to go. I know, it's
So that's God damn. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're old enough. You got to get the fuck out.
get out of my shack.
And I would imagine,
That was a shack.
I guess it's time, whatever, but I would wager that Thomason's supposed to be maybe 15.
Yeah, that's the age I was thinking.
Right?
Yeah. So she calls the kids names to see if they're asleep. Nobody answers her. They're all
course
fucking
not.
wide awake.
Eavesdropping like
Listen,
nobody's
I mean,
business.
they're speaking at full volume.
They weren't even trying to whisper.
No. So
Yeah,
Kate
no.
breaks down, says that Sam is in hell, that it's all William's fault,
And
that Sam
Caleb's
wasn't
like,
baptized.
"I fucking knew
it. She says our corn is trash. Like she is.
I love that line because it seems so modern. That's how we talk now. that corn's trash,
It's trash.
Fuck this corn.
She is completely melting down, and the kids hear
Everything.
everything,
Yeah, that's rough.
including their intention to send Thomason away.
Yeah.
So that night, later that night, I guess, Thomason catches Caleb taking the horse, getting the horse ready to go out. And she thinks he's running away. And he's like, no, I'll be back by morning. And then you're not going to have to go anywhere.
Well, he said, I'll be back by midday. I don't know what that means in that time period, but no matter what time you're leaving and expecting to come back, you think your parents
Aren't going
aren't
to
going to notice
Yeah.
or say
Yeah.
anything? Like, kids are so dumb.
They are.
Like,
They are.
and he
no matter
thinks
what the
that
time period
he
is.
thinks he's going to solve all the problems.
Yeah. So what exactly was the plan?
I guess the plan was to check the traps and
go
then maybe
hunting.
to hunt again.
Yeah.
Like,
because he
take
He
two.
takes the gun.
He does.
But Thomason's like, well, let me go with you. He's like, no. She goes, well, I'll tell mom and dad. So in the next scene, Thomason's with him.
Yeah.
She's on the horse. He's walking next to the horse. He does have the gun, and they have the dog, Fowler. Thomason's talking about their lives in England before they came here.
Yeah.
And Caleb really doesn't remember much.
I'm wondering
Right.
how long the voyage must have
Yeah.
been.
Oh,
Like he was
man.
probably like nothing.
Little, yeah.
Yeah.
So Fowler and the horse start freaking out. Caleb runs after Fowler.
This is when they see the rabbit again. That's why the horse starts freaking out.
Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
The
Yeah.
rabbit is an ever-present.
Yeah, I never really.
Thing.
I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
That's
Horse is like, I don't fuck with rabbits.
yeah, not that one. not the is that
No.
humanized?
Yeah.
I'm out.
No. That's where I draw the line.
Humanized. That's his name. Is that
Yeah.
you, humanized? No, nope.
It's like a
I go
mob
no
nickname.
further.
Oh, it's humanize a rabbit.
So Caleb goes after Fowler, and the horse throws Thomason off.
Uh-huh.
And then everything fades to black. We are back at the farm, and everyone is screaming out. The little ones, the parents, everyone is calling for Caleb and Thomason because they didn't fucking make it back before anybody got up.
And they didn't leave a note.
And they did not leave it. That's why you always leave a note.
Always.
In the woods, Caleb has the gun and he's looking for Thomason and the dog. He's scared and he starts praying, and then he hears Fowler yelping.
Yeah.
He finally comes upon the dog and he seems to be disemboweled.
Yeah. I don't know. It happened very quick.
Yeah.
Much like the snatching of the baby.
Much like the
Yeah.
snatching of the baby. So Thomason wakes up and hears William calling. She finds him and he's, happy to see her at least.
Yeah.
At least Catherine. She didn't find Catherine first.
Yeah, she'd be like, where's Caleb?
Oh, you.
Yeah, damn it.
So
it was a
mean-
50-50, yeah.
Meanwhile, I gambled and lost. Meanwhile, Caleb's in the woods and he comes upon like a hut, like a little house in the woods.
Yeah.
And a young, beautiful witch comes out.
Looking like Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
Right.
But she's young.
I just want to say though, like honestly, as a kid, I'm not gonna go to some fucking house like that.
Okay.
That's
No, and I wouldn't approach the house.
yeah, no. I'd
Period.
probably hello.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go to the door and like, hey, lady.
You've got
Like,
any already hunted rabbits in there?
Yeah, no,
By any chance?
there's-
That'd be cool. That'd be
But
cool.
we don't know what kind of aura she is emitting.
That's
we don't
true.
know. Plus,
That's
he's checking
fair.
out his own sister. This is
Yeah.
a full live woman in front of him.
Caleb's
I'm
like,
sure
look,
No,
I'm desperate.
anything.
Yeah.
He does go to her and she kisses him. And while she's kissing him, a hand reaches out, an old
looking
hand, and grabs the back of his head. And then we fade to black again.
Right.
That would be a terrible hand job, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
man.
get that, right, everybody?
It's like, you sure are pretty. Don't touch me with that hand. I'm like, not that one.
So we're back at the house now, and it's storming outside, and William is just saying that he's going to set off in the morning to look for Caleb, that there's no sense in going out right now. And I mean, he doesn't have his horse, he doesn't have his hunting dog, he doesn't have his gun.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb kind of fucked
he
him.
kind of fucked it up.
But then she was, Catherine was like, well, why don't you go back to town? And he's like, with what horse?
Yeah, what do you
Like,
want me to
what
do? Bitch with what horse? And this is one of the scenes in the movie. There's a few, but it feels like a play.
Absolutely.
Right.
I don't know if it's just the way it's shot.
I don't know,
Or
like
what?
the staging,
The blocking,
or,
yeah.
I don't know, but it feels very
It
much
really
like a play.
does.
Not that that's a bad thing.
No.
But I noticed that a few times in this movie. But Catherine, of course, is on Thomason's case because she won't tell what they were doing out in the woods.
And honestly, she's looking real bad right now. She's taken two kids
Two
away from the
boys,
house.
exactly.
And 2 kids. She's 0 for 2.
She is 0 for 2. So she's going off on Thomason, and William finally is like, all right, I took your silver cup.
Yeah, this is the time to... You couldn't take it anymore.
I gotta save the girl. I fucked up.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it's too little too late.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, but come on, man.
Yeah.
You've been letting
Hey.
her get her ass
Yeah,
beat over
yeah.
this thing.
shit.
And also
Yeah.
read the room. Like, we're
Yeah.
not really talking about that
Like,
right
what were
now.
you doing in the woods? I took your cup. I'm sorry.
So
like,
sorry.
what?
So he apologizes to Catherine and to Thomason, which he needed to.
Yes.
And he admits to taking Caleb in the woods hunting.
Yeah.
So Catherine is pissed, and she tells him that he has damned his family. She hits him. Like, emotions are on 11 right now.
Oh, yeah.
But we see them a little bit later in the house, and Thomason offers to bed down the goats. And Catherine's like, oh, no, they're not going anywhere tonight. And she's like, no, I want to please you. And Catherine's like, all right.
Yeah.
Very,
It was
really
surprising.
weird. Yeah.
I expected some kind of snide remark. Anything. Like, I'm going to go bed down the goats. Yeah, make sure Wolf doesn't take them too.
Yeah.
Or something, you know?
She's like, you know what, Thomason? All right.
All right. You
I'll
got
let
the night off.
I'll let
Yeah.
you have this one. So she goes out to, I guess, put the goats in, and she sees Caleb, and he's naked.
Yeah, he's just out
And
there
he's weak.
in the
Yeah.
rain letting his ass breathe.
Yes.
And
Yeah, he's all fucked up.
yeah, and there's no, because the way the scene cut off earlier with the woman in the woods, there's no telling what happened.
Well, we have no
telling
idea.
what he's
No,
been
yeah.
through.
Yeah.
But he is weak. He collapses.
Yeah. So he does collapse. Thomason goes to him, and then Thomason and Catherine are tending to him, but they cut his face and collect his blood.
Here's the thing.
Please.
It's an old medical thing that they used to do all the time called bloodletting.
Okay.
I'm not in the medical field, but in my view, even in primitive times, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, what's wrong with him? Well, we don't know. Too much blood in his system. Let's go and get some of
Get
that
some
out.
of that out.
But that's actually what killed George Washington.
Oh, shit.
He was sick, and they were like, well, let's keep fucking taking blood out. And then eventually, I don't know if you know this, but the blood
run out.
stops. They're like, hey, no more blood's coming out. Yeah, he's also dead.
He's cured.
Yeah, exactly. Cured of this life. Yeah.
I think we fucked up.
Can you put it back
Yeah,
in?
don't tell nobody about this.
But is it customary to do it on his face?
That I'm not sure of, but what I am sure of is that it's medically accurate for the time. I wouldn't ever recommend it.
No. And while all this bloodletting and what have you is happening, William is chopping wood.
That's his go-to, man. That's how I think that might just be how he blows off steam. Like
Yeah.
Father Karras hit those punching bags.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he's chopping some wood. I will say, I've never chopped wood like that. Looks fun.
It looks like hard work.
I think, well,
I don't have the upper body strength
It's
for all
not very
that.
fun.
it looks like it could be fun if you don't do poorly at the start, because then you'll just get dissuaded. But if you're like chopping it straight in half every time, you're
Like,
like, man,
hell
this is
yeah.
and you feel like Paul Bunyan.
Don't we all want to feel like Paul Bunyan?
Always.
So the next scene opens with an extreme close-up on Black Phillip's face.
And in this shot, Black Phillip has the exact same eyes as the rabbit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The exact same brown human eyes. And it's eerie. It's like they put contacts on this goat.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So to me, it kind of, not that it transferred from the rabbit to Black Phillip or anything,
Right.
whatever it was, because the rabbit had some evil undertones going on. I don't know what was going on. Things always seem to go wrong around the rabbit, but it's almost like they're of the same ilk.
Right, which would make sense. But Mercy's fucking around again, and she says that Black Phillip told her that Thomason put the devil into Caleb.
Right.
She says that Thomason told her she would beat her and she was going to eat her, and basically it's just a matter of time before Mom and Dad find out that you're a witch. So while Mercy's going off, Thomason is milking their other goat, and blood comes out instead of milk. And she freaks out and kicks the pail, and we get this really cool shot of the blood spilling from the pail onto the hay.
It is there's a lot of very interesting cinematography in this movie. One thing I did read is that, and I respect this a lot of people complained about it, they used natural lighting for all the outside scenes, and all the inside scenes were lit by candlelight.
I like that.
So it gives like a very like authentic feel to the film.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that too. I was like, man, that looks like real fucking candlelight.
Yeah,
I was like, that's badass.
It's really
and
neat.
I feel like on this scale, it's so effective and really realistic. I think Game of Thrones, they could have given us a little bit more.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Come on,
A little bit
HBO.
more light.
Yeah.
I was like, is my TV broken?
Turn that up, yeah.
another
but you didn't want to
conversation.
see that last season anyway.
Oh.
So another thing I will say is that Mercy and Jonas are singing another song about that goat.
Yeah.
And it's also
Yeah,
eerie.
They know. Those little fucking
They know
kids.
something.
Fuck those
And
kids.
how many
They
songs are you
know.
writing about a damn goat? Are they putting out an EP?
Yeah,
Like,
they know. Those kids know something. And
Black Phillip
they're-
Records.
Yeah.
Coming to you.
Yeah. 1630.
So the next scene starts with William coming into the house, and Catherine is praying over Caleb. And she's certain that this is witchcraft. Again, like you said, we know the signs, apparently.
Yeah.
This is witchcraft.
Right.
They had said something about a curse that had been put on a boy back at the plantation. And
Yeah.
she's like, this is
Isn't this what it looks like?
Yeah.
So William's like, look, we're going to sell all of our shit. We're going to move back to the plantation. We're going to send Thomason to another family.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get doctors for Caleb. She's like, I don't want to go back to the plantation. I want to go back to England. Because he's like, what the fuck do you want?
No, he's like, because just last night you wanted the plantation.
Yeah. What do you want? And I'll give it to you. And she's like,
Yeah.
I want to go back to England. He's like,
Come
"Bitch."
on, man. It's driving me crazy.
She says that she's having a crisis of faith, basically, and that her heart has turned to stone since Sam was taken. And William's like, look, it's going to be fine. We're going to sell our stuff and we're going to go back.
Yeah.
So we see them all harvesting and preparing the corn. They're going to try to sell it to get the fuck out of there.
Uh-huh.
And Mercy's fucking dropping bars about Black Phillip
Dude.
again. And then we hear Caleb screaming from inside the house. So we see Caleb and he's laying there. His eyes are still closed, but he's muttering about, give me the axe. I'll cut off her head. Something.
Yeah.
So he starts screaming that his bowels and his stomach hurt. They try to pry open his mouth.
Yeah, because it's like his jaw is locked.
Yeah. And he vomits up an apple.
Yeah. Which, so it was very odd to me because obviously you've got your biblical allusions, you know, it being like knowledge, sin, all that.
Yeah.
But also, I found it very interesting that it's the literal object he was lying
Yeah.
about a couple days
Yes.
ago.
Right.
That's very weird.
And there are none around. We've established that
No
there are none
apples
around.
around. And it was a whole
And it's a whole
Oh,
apple.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not like he vomited up a slice.
An apple wedge.
Yeah,
No, it was a whole ass apple.
right.
So the twins just start spilling the tea. Thomason turned milk into blood.
Yeah, dude, there is no loyalty here.
Nope.
Yeah,
she gave
those-
Sam to the devil. She signed the devil's book.
Fuck those kids, man. Those
Dude.
kids like
They're the worst.
Yeah, no, they sat.
immediately turn on their sister.
Immediately.
Like immediately.
So William tells them to stop and makes them all get on their knees and pray over Caleb.
Isn't this when he asks Thomason to prove that she's not a witch? by asking her questions.
Yes, yeah, he tells her to get on her knees and pray in front of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, but he's like, he asks her a couple questions. It's the easiest test to pass for
Oh,
a witch
yeah.
ever.
He's
Yeah,
like, do you
no,
love
yeah.
God?
Yeah.
All right, she's not a
course
witch.
they
Yeah,
do.
can you
Love
say
'em.
the Lord's Prayer?
Sure can,
It's like
boss.
a witch can
Your
pass
kids,
this hands down.
comfortable around heavy machinery? Love
I
it.
love it.
Love it.
I love it.
So the twins start up with their theatrics. They they're in pain. They can't remember their prayers. Well, it's like you're making up too many damn songs.
Yeah,
it's like
Exactly. Yeah, you're like,
for
I
your
can drop
prayers.
some bars, but I can't. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So Thomason is yelling at them to pray and basically to quit their bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And William, I guess, interprets this as Thomason stopping their prayers.
'Cause that's
which
what the kids
is
are
a
saying.
sign, of
Yeah.
which would lend credence to what the twins are saying. So Caleb wakes up and he's like, "It's her." Says she's a cat. What, a raven? I mean,
Yeah, he's
a
going
crow.
off. Now, when he says it's her, it could very easily be interpreted as Thomason.
It's Thomason.
But at the same time, he could have been talking about the woman he met in the
Yep.
woods.
Yeah.
So there's no telling. It looks really bad because you got the
looks-
twins losing their mind in the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, no, because as soon as he wakes up and starts screaming, they start screaming with him.
Exactly. And they
Yeah.
start screaming what he's screaming.
Yes. So they start praying over Caleb, and he's yelling about God. And finally, everybody stops.
Yeah.
And then,
Sorry. Look, okay. He was doing a great job for the majority of this scene.
he did. I think he did really great in this scene.
He got a little dinner theater for me. When he was like, and the kisses, and he was like rubbing his
Rubbing his
face, and he's
face?
like, and the touch, and he's like rubbing his chest. It's like, dude, you would be like,
I thought I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I thought it was just.
it was a little much. I'm like,
Were you being seduced by Jesus,
I-
or were
Maybe
you
he-
getting
I mean,
saved?
I don't know if this
mean,
is dress rehearsal or
It was.
Stop.
He's the understudy in this scene. Don't get me wrong, the kid did a great job
He did.
around that line.
Okay, so he does start talking about the kisses and the touch of God, and he's smiling and he's saying that God is with him, and then he lies back and stops, and his eyes are open,
Yeah.
and he's dead. So Thomason tries to go look at her dead brother, and Catherine is like, "Get the fuck out!" Like,
Yeah.
she's like,
Yeah.
"I don't want you in here. I don't want you in this house." So she goes outside, and William follows her.
Yeah.
And then he starts to question her when they get outside. He says that he saw the serpent in his son, that she stopped the twins from praying, and she's the one that found Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They,
it all
they do
looks
bring that
really
It
up.
looks
bad.
horrible.
It does.
So he's like, "Look, we can unwitch you," which how?
Yeah.
But we can unwitch you, but you need to tell me the
We
truth.
can unwitch you, what, by burning you?
Oh
Like,
yeah, that takes the witch
They did that,
right
yeah.
All
out.
right, we'll
Which-
fix you. Climb up on the stake over here.
Yeah,
All right.
Witch
Fine.
be gone, we call it, yeah.
So Thomason's like, "You want me to tell the truth?" And she proceeds to tell the truth all over his ass.
Oh, yeah. But again, not a lie
No.
detected. She is 100%
She
right.
tells him he's a hypocrite. She knows that he was going to send her away. He lied about the cup and let Catherine shit all over her for it. He lied about Caleb going into the woods. Catherine controls him. He can't farm. He can't hunt. He can just chop wood. It's like drag him, sis, at
no,
this
yeah.
point.
But then
Yeah.
his reaction is a little much. He just goes, bitch!
Oh, and he pushes her
And
down.
then he put, yeah.
yeah.
It's like,
Well, he says that the devil is speaking through her.
but she's being honest.
All of it was true.
And everything she said was true.
All of it was true.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess, again, at the time, father, he's the
Respect.
head of the house.
Yeah.
You have to, even if he's wrong, he's right.
Well, she had some shit to say.
And she was right
she was.
to say it.
And then she's like, "You think I'm a witch, but the twins are talking to Black Phillip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
He
shit.
speaks to them. He comes in the form of a goat. He whispers, like, talk to them." Which she's right.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he drags her inside and he's like, "Tell her," Catherine's like, "Get the fuck out." He's like, "No."
It's like, what did I say earlier?
Yeah.
Tell her what you just said. Mercy and Jonas are passed out, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
really.
Dude, well, they're pretending that they've been bewitched or
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a little much.
So
and
he's-
I can't even imagine how pissed off I would
Oh
be
my
if I was
God.
William or Catherine or Thomason.
Thomason. He's talking to them and they won't answer until he picks up Jonas and he's like, why don't I just bash his skull? And Jonas is like, wow.
All right, uncle. All right, shit. We were just kidding.
They start screaming and everything is again at an 11.
Yeah.
And William decides that the best course of action is to board them into the goat house with the goats.
Now, I don't see how that makes sense.
We all want to lock our kids in a cage sometimes. We don't
But you
actually
don't do
it.
it.
Yeah, you don't really do it. Do you want to?
Of course.
Yeah, but you don't. And he does. She's like trying to talk to him. He's like, shut up, put the board. And
Just nailing it. Yeah.
So inside the goat house, Thomason asks if they're really if they are witches, and if they really do talk to Black Phillip.
Right.
They don't answer.
It's fucking kids, man.
No,
for real.
at this point, I'm like, these kids suck, man.
No,
Like,
Yeah, no.
for real.
It's unbelievable. And this is supposed to be your sibling?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we see William and Kate burying Caleb.
That is a beautiful
Yo,
shot.
yeah.
It's a wide, long shot of them, like in the bottom left, standing over the grave that they're digging. You see the house and the smoke billowing.
Yeah.
The trees in the
Yeah.
back. That is a beautiful shot.
Yeah. Well, then Kate climbs into the grave and looks up at William. And I bet William's like, I swear to fucking God.
Like, we've been
Can
through
one
enough,
person
dude. Yeah.
please just fucking stop?
So was that, I mean, her being like, bury me
I'm
with
done.
him.
Yeah.
Fuck That's it.
Sam broke her.
And then
now,
Caleb?
I mean, God damn.
it. But I feel like in the 1600s.
And now my kid, my living kids might all be witches now. I'm done. I'm fucking done.
You have no time to process anything.
No, it's just back to back to back.
Yeah.
So that night, William is chopping wood
It's his favorite thing.
and he finally breaks down and says that this is all his fault. This is all because of his pride. And Thomason hears him.
Yeah. So he's basically saying, I guess they could have gone back to the plantation
Yeah.
very easily.
Yeah.
If he would have just given in and accepted, I guess, maybe that he was wrong in the disagreement that he had with
Which
the town
he
folk.
probably was. I mean, from what
Yeah.
we know.
And dude, Innocent's performance in this scene, it is
No, he's
amazing.
incredible.
It's heartbreaking. You feel the
It's so
guilt, you feel the desperation, and mostly you feel the like fear.
Yeah. Well, and he's asking God, like, take me, but save my kids,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah.
And then he eats dirt, I guess, as contrition.
Is
like,
it
it's very,
like a penance.
like, I'm not prideful. Look at
No.
me, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
it's heart-wrenching.
Maybe they should have been eating the dirt all along.
Maybe they should have.
There's nutrients in it, I heard.
So that night, the twins are cuddling in the goat house. But inside, Catherine sees Caleb in her room, and he's holding Sam.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, I have to wake William. And Caleb's like, no. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Caleb speaking very calmly.
Yep.
It's like, look, I understand the emotion, the grief, everything wrapped up into this, but your kid's speaking like a straight up demon.
yeah.
And there's no.
And he's like, we can visit you a lot. Like, would you like that? Do you want to read this book with me?
That's some ghostly shit. And what book?
The book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Book.
That's what made me like,
Yeah.
this is not a reading family.
No.
So any reference to books has been the devil's
No.
book.
Exactly.
yeah.
There's no hop on pop in this house.
There's no green eggs and ham.
No.
None of that
Not
shit.
about that life.
So back in the goat house, the twins hear movement and footsteps. Back in the family's house, Caleb asks her to read the book with him.
Yes.
And she starts nursing Sam. Mm-hmm. So back in the goat house, I guess, is this the same one from earlier?
The same witch.
But the old version, the
Yeah.
older version that we saw at the beginning,
Right.
is naked and drinking from the goat that
the blood
Thomason,
milk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
had been milking, and it was blood. Everybody screams.
Well, they are obviously very concerned when they see this. And then when the witch turns around,
Yeah.
there's no musical sting. All the music is building, and in fact, when the witch turns around, it goes completely silent, which is such smart horror
Very
filmmaking.
effective.
And the witch looks terrifying.
Yeah.
The makeup that's done, it's almost like if you picture a witch in your mind, it's like the stereotypical witch.
Yeah.
But when she turns around.
Yeah. So they're having this moment in the goat house, and back at the house, we have a shot of Catherine. It's got to be in the top 3 most mind-burning visuals in the film.
Unsettling beyond words.
She's sitting in the chair where she had been reading with Caleb and nursing Sam, and there is a crow pecking at her breast.
Catherine is getting that titty munched. It is.
And she's laughing and laughing and laughing.
Yeah.
As I was watching it, I was like, I don't know how they shot this.
Man,
because the crow looks so real.
And it looks like it's actually eating.
Yes,
like,
it is pecking flesh. You see the flesh being torn.
God,
I don't know how they did that.
Very disturbing.
It's incredible.
And that her brain is interpreting. I mean, it's so much. Like it's so disturbing and so fucking creepy.
I think what sets it off is her laughter.
She's so happy.
Yeah.
You know, like if she were to be just sleeping in the chair and that was happening or something, like it's all in her head. No. But she's having these delusions.
It's horrifying. In the morning, William wakes up and climbs over Catherine. He thinks she's asleep, but her eyes are open and her gown is bloody over the munched titty region.
And I think that shot was very smart, because if I hadn't have seen that, I would have been like,
really happen?
that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Just in her head.
No, yeah.
But
No,
to see
it
the
fucking
blood stain,
happened.
you're like, what the fuck is going on?
So William goes outside and the goat house is broken. The goats are slaughtered, it looks like, or the milk goat.
Yeah. I will say again, the shot goes on for a while as William walks up to the goat house.
Yeah.
And you don't see what's going on. All you see is the horror on his face at what he's seeing. And you're like, what's he seeing? What is going on? What's he seeing? And then you finally see it and you're like, oh my God.
And Thomason is laying amongst all of it. But I never saw the twins.
No, you never see them again.
No.
They're just gone.
I have so many questions about those twins.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
seriously.
I do have a thought, but it'll have to wait until we get to the end.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because I thought that too, and then I was like, I just assumed they were under the rubble.
See, I thought so too,
but you did mention earlier that to me before that you didn't see them there. Is that what you said?
Yeah, you don't see them at all.
No, and I think it's intentional that we don't see them. Like, it's not like this movie has shied away from showing us shit that we don't want to see. We saw a baby get hacked up.
Yeah,
and,
but we didn't.
We didn't, but we saw the knife on the baby.
True,
we know
but
what happened.
The thing is that in my mind, it reminds me of a lot of old horror movies where they shy away from showing violence against children.
Yeah.
And so, to my mind, until this time I watched it, I was like, oh, well, the kids are dead.
I thought so too.
Inside or something, and they're just not going to show it. But I feel like, as we discussed before we recorded, it was intentional, and we'll get into that later.
Okay.
Right.
So William's looking at all this, and out of nowhere, Black Phillip runs up on his spot and gores him.
Yeah. And, well, he gores him, and then he backs up, and he shuffles like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
What you got?
Oh, Black Betty.
Yeah, he's floating like a butterfly. Because he already stung like a bee.
He did sting like a bee. He does it again and knocks William into his giant ass wood pile, and it all falls on him, which I feel like that's saying something.
I think it's got to be symbolic, because it's like the thing that brought you peace has rained down upon you and buried you.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to mention is, before he's gored the final time and the wood falls down on him, he says, "Corruption, thou art my father." And I looked it up, and it's from the book of Job. And earlier in the film, Catherine was saying, "I feel like Job's wife." And so you have that
She
moment.
does say that.
She does
Yeah,
say
she
that.
does say that.
You have that moment of her saying that,
Yeah.
and then him saying that before his death. He's like confirming it.
It is.
He's like, we are being.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah, so did I as I'm talking. But yeah, so that's just incredible writing because it's like she has a feeling, and this is the confirmation.
God damn. Pardon my pun, but
No, yeah.
holy shit. Pardon that pun, too.
Doubled up on it.
Oh, man. Anyway, so Thomason gets up and she goes to her father, and Catherine comes up and snatches her by her hair.
Right.
She accuses Thomason of killing the twins, of all of this being her fault. She blames her for everything and mentions that she basically seduced Caleb,
Yes.
and then says, I guess, that after Caleb, she was moving on to William.
I did think it was kind of lame that she was being blamed for Caleb being a peeping Tom,
Right.
basically.
Yeah, that was all him.
That's all on
that had
Caleb.
Nothing to do with her.
But I will say that, like we discussed earlier, the shirt scene was very uncomfortable
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah.
And so I could see Catherine watching from afar and being like, what is that? What
Yeah.
does that mean? And she's not going to blame William.
Clearly not. Everything's Thomason's
Exactly. So, I mean, it fits in line with what everything that's gone on so far. It's very odd for her to say that as she sees her husband's corpse on the
Dead.
side.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and by the way, you're seducing people. Like, no, how about we talk
Your
about all
husband's
these
dead.
corpses? Your twins are missing.
Like
Yeah.
that's,
You know,
that's what
like,
you're worried about?
yeah.
Was it-
fault. So she says that Thomason took all of them from her.
Right.
She jumps on her and knocks her to the ground. Thomason blindly grabs and gets a cleaver and hits Catherine in the head with it. This is not enough. This rage
No,
is
yeah.
strong enough to withstand a cleaver.
Yeah.
She's strangling Thomason.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Thomason keeps hitting Kate. She's covered in her blood, and Catherine dies.
So here's the thing. Two things. One, I feel like Thomason's conflict resolution skills need some work.
Well, and she's like, I love you the whole time.
Yeah, it's very odd. I feel like they could have gone through the situation without Lizzie Borden taking an axe and giving her mother 40 whacks, right? Like, I understand that she was being choked and everything, but
It was a lot.
they're all that's left.
Literally, that's it.
And she grabbed it without hesitation and immediately swung it into her mother's head.
It's rash.
I don't know. I do have some questions about Thomason that I'll bring up later.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. She holds Catherine's body, and then she gets up and looks into the woods. Then she goes inside. She takes off her, I guess, overdress, puts on a shawl, and sits at the table, puts her head down on the table, and then it fades to black. Which is interesting because I feel like this movie fades to black a lot. It's almost like the curtains closing, or...
It does, and more often than not, it has to do with Thomason.
That's true.
Like, whenever she fell off the horse.
Yeah.
It did happen once with Caleb, but there are a lot of fade to blacks. Not that that's
Yeah.
a mark against the film, but it's just something that does happen a lot.
Yeah. So she wakes up. She's still sitting at the table. She gets up and she goes outside, and it's night now.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it was first thing in the morning when William, she's slept all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a way to start your day.
Yeah. So she goes into the goat house.
I usually just go with coffee.
Usually. But you can watch your father murdered and then kill your
Yeah,
mother.
it's all right.
I suppose.
Yeah,
To
why
each
not?
their own.
To each their own. It was the 1600s. So she goes into the goat house and she asks Black Phillip to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
And the shot is full on her face, which is the first shot that we see in the movie.
Yes.
And she's got her hair back and her head covering on, and she's very pilgrim chic and buttoned down, and now her hair is down and wild, and she's covered in blood, and she's in, I guess that's underwear for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it seems like very much a 180 of
Right.
how we met her. So I just thought that was really interesting.
It gives an odd bit of, I guess, symmetry to the film.
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
I know there's a word for it in filmmaking, but my mind escapes me at the moment.
It's late.
It's, yeah.
So right when she's about to leave, asking Black Phillip to talk to her, he answers her and he's like, what do you want? Basically.
Yeah.
What dost thou want? He's like, you want the taste of butter, a pretty dress? And she's like, yeah.
I have to say, she is given the choice. He says, what dost thou want?
Yeah.
She doesn't say, well, can my family be back and
Nope.
like everything's back to normal? She's like, ooh, butter and dresses, he said.
He says,
Where do I sign?
He says, wouldst thou like to live deliciously? And she's
Now-
like, put me down for that. And I'm watching in my pajamas in my apartment, like, put me down for that.
I just want to say
You
that,
just handing out delicious lives?
Yeah, but maybe it's like she knows, oh, well, it's the devil. He's not going to give me my family back. He's not going to,
But she doesn't even try. I mean, that's a
No,
good
yeah,
point.
there's-
Try what? You're going to ask the devil to do something nice for you?
but she's asking to live deliciously.
Yeah.
Well, what
if-
else
what
do you
if-
have left?
See, that's you don't make deals with the devil. He's like, would you like to live deliciously? And now you're a delicious meal. You know what I mean?
you didn't read
but-
the fine print.
Damn wordplay with the devil. He loves it.
So she's basically like, yeah, what do I have to do? And he asks if she sees the book before her. And then we look down at the book and see somebody walk by. I mean, these are human shoes.
Yeah.
Walk by. And he tells her to take her clothes off. She does. And suddenly there's a man behind her and he has his hand on her shoulder.
Now he's got a hat, long hair. In my
He had
view,
spurs on.
he did. I preferred the goat to this Russell Brand character.
Yeah, it's like a Three Musketeers.
Yeah, like I like more goat.
Yeah.
That's my note. More goat.
More goat, less bloat. So she says that she can't write her name, and he's like, "I'll guide your hand.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Like,
even
oh, we got
worry
that
about
covered.
that."
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry.
So in the next shot, she's walking naked through the woods, and Black Phillip is just trotting behind her, like having the time of his life.
Back in goat form.
Back in goat form. Yeah, let me clarify. And they hear chanting in the woods. And so she comes upon a fire, and there are naked witches dancing, chanting, doing their thing around the fire. So Thomason and Black Phillip watch as all of these witches begin to float. And as Thomason's standing there, and again, we're closed in on her face, she starts laughing, and we see her start floating too.
And you don't hear her laughter.
You don't hear her, you hear the chanting.
Yes, which I think is really
Yeah, but she
cool.
looks, you don't see her that happy the whole, I mean, you see her joke a couple times with Caleb, but this is pure joy. Like
Right.
she looks so happy. She's throwing her head back and she's laughing, and she floats to the top of the trees, and then it fades to black. And that's it.
I will say they missed their opportunity to play Witchy Woman by the Eagles.
Or Season of the Witch.
Yeah. Be a little cliche, but dude, see how high she flies? That is
Yeah. Yeah.
but it would have ruined the film.
But it would have been a huge mistake.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think about The Witch?
I thought it was good. I mean, it was still
Me
good the second
too.
time around.
For me, it was better this time around than it was the
I
first
will
time.
agree
Oh
with
yeah, yeah. Now I did want to say, and then I guess now it doesn't make sense that I think of it, but when we were talking about the twins being gone,
Right.
what I was thinking was, well, they're all flying. That's where the twins went. How were they able to fly?
Oh my god.
Because they killed the baby.
Oh.
How
Holy
are they
shit.
all flying? Well, they got the
killed
twins.
the
We don't see the twins in the rubble, and we don't see where they went. That means they're gone.
That is
how is their power to
excellent
fly?
point.
That was the flying ointment. They needed it.
They needed the twins.
That
and
makes perfect
What does
sense.
everybody always say is more like, what is it, telepathic or whatever? It's twins. They can think
You're
with
right.
each other.
Even more powerful.
So
More
then,
juice.
Yeah.
that's more power juice to give to all of us in the coven, and now we can fly away.
That-
But they didn't have any blood rubbed on them. But again,
Maybe
Fair.
there's a river there. I mean, we don't know
no,
what they've been
I'm
doing.
Just saying,
No, I feel
thought,
like that's a
No.
very plausible
I never
theory.
thought about
Yeah.
that. That's,
Me neither. Because in my mind, those twins knew some shit.
No, oh yeah, no,
absolutely.
yeah.
And they knew about the devil's book and this and that. And were they already...
Well, they were straight up talking to Black Phillip first.
No,
Absolutely.
yeah,
If-
right
if-
away.
If it wasn't for them, Thomason wouldn't have gone to talk to Black Phillip at
Nope.
the end because she wouldn't even know that was an option.
yeah,
Nope.
no, yeah.
So, I mean, they definitely knew something beforehand, before everybody else, but it seemed as though, I guess, the Coven just wanted her more.
Yeah. But and then when she's lying or when she's telling what is it, her little sister about her being the witch and her this and that. Well, she did all those things. She did lead those
Yeah.
kids to them.
No, absolutely.
And she is now a witch in the woods.
She'd be the witch of the
So
wood.
she was telling the truth.
And-
It was like what? She's foretelling everything.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing
Yeah.
everything that was going to happen.
That's where
Yeah.
my question comes in about Thomason is I feel like she knew more than she let on. I don't know when things happened, when, certain things went down. She even seemed a bit in disbelief when she was trying to talk to Black Phillip at the end. But it's very hard to believe with all the stuff that she said, all the things that she did, and how easily she did them.
That she didn't know
There was
anything.
nothing, no
No,
knowledge
yeah.
about
Yeah.
what's been going on at all. But I can't pinpoint any time where I'm like, oh, this is when she's gone
She
bad.
behaved strangely.
Oh, that's
or,
when.
yeah.
No,
No,
there's
yeah.
there's no moment that you can point to. But there's something odd.
Something else interesting that, and I don't know how much you've read about the Salem witch trials, but there is a belief now, and it's funny because maybe about a month ago, my friend had sent me an article about this, but people believe now that there was a mold or a fungus growing on corn
Okay.
at that time that had led to mass hysteria, that had led to all the witch accusations, that had led to the burning at the stake.
and that would make
that they
sense.
were all tripping, basically.
Yeah.
And so we see the rotten corn. So for a minute, it's almost like, is this family going crazy? I think the answer clearly is no.
yeah.
And, yeah.
But I mean, that's
I-
kind of an interesting red herring.
But I think it's just a matter of the attention to detail they put in the film
Yeah.
because they're like, look, we're not going to point to this corn. We're not going to say our corn's got
It's moldy.
yeah, Skylar, it's got rot.
yeah.
So that's just attention to detail.
No,
They're
it
like,
is
of
a
this
very
time.
smart. And I already knew it was a smart movie, but even the stuff that you've brought to the table today, it's like, God damn, like
Yeah.
you guys really, you did that.
Eggers
Like,
is the real deal, man.
Yeah.
And you see at the end of the film, like you had mentioned before, he said the dialogue of the film was collected from journals
Yeah.
of the time period, writings, historical records, some of it directly taken, which is very interesting because you're like, how many of these lines, it gives it this odd historical context. The things that William says to Thomason when he believes her to be a witch, the cruel things he says, how much of this was said to people
yeah.
during a trial,
A real, yeah.
and it grounds it in this reality and also kind of demonstrates how astray humanity can go
Absolutely.
through hysteria
Yeah.
and what they're willing to believe.
Especially if you feel like you have something as powerful as God on your side.
How can you be
How
wrong?
far can you go? You're right.
Yes.
Like, this is, man, that's some scary shit. That's scarier than the movie.
But no, to answer your question, great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Even better revisiting it.
Agreed.
But I will say again, this isn't the kind of movie you watch over and over again.
No.
It could honestly for a lot of people. Well, let me put it this way: it could very easily for a lot of people be a one and done. That was a great movie. Don't need to watch it again. But I could also see a lot of people not liking this movie.
Definitely. I feel like any movie that goes against the grain.
Uh huh.
And another thing, why did I remember this movie being completely in black and white and it's not?
I still don't remember
I
why
remember
you
it-
thought that. Or I don't know why you thought that.
You know, it might have been because of the lighthouse is black and white. We could have just put it in our heads. The other thing that I will say is that I remember this movie being 2.5 hours.
I did too.
This movie's like a 90-minute.
Yeah, no. I remember it being short, but I didn't remember every like bits and pieces of it because we only had watched it that once.
And watched it in 2015.
Yeah.
So it's been some years.
And action is just happening right out the gate. Like, Sam is gone, I think, in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie.
In the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first 5 to 10 minutes, we get full-on witch business.
Yeah.
Which there's no, I will say the pacing does kind of slow down after that initial witch business.
True.
And then it picks back up.
Yeah.
But
I think I was trying to say, but I got distracted because I remembered that I thought this movie was in black and white. But any movie that is not going to adhere to a cookie cutter, I feel like the horror genre now, for most modern horror movies, it's very formulaic and you kind of know.
Right.
You know the dance. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to buck that and go against it and be scary. Our scare isn't when the music swells. It's when the music stops. Like shit like that.
That's incredible.
There's always going to be people that are like, well, I don't like it. Like there's always going to be those people because it's not sustaining you in the way that you're used to now.
Right. I will say one thing that does bother me, however, is the superiority that some people feel over people that wouldn't like a movie like this.
Right.
I read a review on Wikipedia and this guy said, you'll watch The Witch and you'll love it, but 90% of the audience will be too stupid to understand it. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like,
at the end of the day, we are all horror fans.
Yes. If you like what you like.
If you are a slasher person, be
Great.
a fucking that's fine.
Great.
Not every movie is for everybody, but you shouldn't belittle someone because this isn't their cup of tea. Like, that's shitty.
I very much enjoyed this movie. I could see people that wouldn't.
Yeah.
We discussed Sleepaway Camp. It was fun to talk about, but none of us necessarily enjoyed that movie.
But there are a lot of people that do.
we understand and respect the people that love that. So, I mean, like you said, to each their own, man.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all horror fans. And we don't need to eat each other. We should all be united in this.
And we should be uniting behind original ideas like
100%.
Even if this movie wasn't your cup of tea, you got to admit it was
You've never seen
very
anything
interestingly
like this.
and done very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, all I want to say on that is because I do agree with you, but I think people get lazy sometimes, like, because I'm not a very intellectual person, but you know what I mean, like on the cool. I know, what I am, whatever. I have more street smarts than I do book smarts, but I can sit there and watch this movie and still enjoy it.
Right.
I don't have to be there like, well, actually, back around, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
No.
The movie was good, and I enjoyed it. I think people were just like, well, this is boring. You're not paying attention.
No.
Yeah.
You're not seeing what's going on. Just if you will pay attention to the small hints in the movie or things that are happening or seeing how things are progressing throughout the film, you'll enjoy it.
Right.
You don't have to fucking have a Harvard degree to sit there and be like, oh, well, this movie is fan. No, the movie is good.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just good. If you don't like it because you didn't pay attention, that's just laziness.
And that's different.
That's different than
different.
stupidity.
But
I think
that's different than preference.
But that's but I
Yeah.
do agree with that when people are like, well, if you don't like it, it's because you're fucking stupid.
I hate that.
No,
Yeah.
if you don't like it, then you don't like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go watch whatever you do like.
Yeah, but to your point, if you didn't pay attention,
that's
that's
your
on
fault.
you.
Yeah, but if you don't pay attention to it and then you say, oh, this movie sucked, it didn't suck. You just didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
You know what
How
I
is
mean?
that the movie's fault?
Yeah, don't.
I think that goes back to what I was saying about being so used to being spoon-fed.
No,
Right.
yeah.
That people,
absolutely.
with a lot of modern horror movies, they don't necessarily need to pay attention.
No. So it's a different experience.
Yeah.
It's a different movie-going experience, a movie like this.
But I liked the movie.
No, it's
You know what I
great.
mean? And I liked, and this was what, our second time seeing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know who said it earlier, but I do like it the second time now. Like watching it again,
It was
I
even
was
better.
like, I was
I
like,
agree.
I caught shit that I didn't catch.
And
the
I
first
have
time.
movies that I absolutely loved the first time I saw it. We've covered one. And then watched it again, and you're like, "Oh, there's a hole there. There's a hole there. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
that's disappointing." For a movie to do the opposite is a very nice treat. It's a very rare treat. that the second time you're like, damn, that was even better than I thought.
No, yeah.
So thank you, The Witch.
Yeah.
So on a scale from 1 to 10 silver cups, I give The Witch 8 silver cups.
All right. I started, and like I told you earlier, I started at a number, and I wasn't sure about it, and I started at a 6.
Wow.
Well, because I was like, okay, I want to, I don't want to go too high, but I don't want to go too low.
Yeah.
So I started at a 6. But the more we sat here and discussed it, and then me watching it and taking notes and everything, and like I told you, I can only go up. I'm not going to go down. I can only go
Definitely,
up.
yeah.
I want to give it a 7.5. It's a good movie. It is a little short.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is a little short. And there is times, like you said, when they talk, it's just kind of like, what'd you say? It's like, what the fuck? And some of the subtitles don't go with what they say.
No, that's true, too.
Yeah,
that is true, too.
Some of the subtitles don't go along with what they're saying. But, I mean, and the only reason I'm giving it a 7.5 is because, like you said, it's not a movie you're going to watch over and over.
No.
But it is a movie, once you watch it, you're going to enjoy it.
Exactly.
So I don't want to go any higher than that because, again, if it's something that I feel like I can watch over and over, of course I'm going to give it a higher score. But I do still think that it's deserving of a higher than just like a 5 or a 6 or whatever.
And you're a tough customer with your ratings.
But and the thing too that is like, because what more does most horror movies is, somebody survives at the end, the girl saves the day, or the guy saves the damsel in distress, and then the cops come and they're like, what happened here? You know what I mean? No, she, like you said, she was happy. She was like, you know what? I'm a fucking witch now.
I'm down.
My family's dead. This is what it is. Embrace it.
That ending shot is
in a standard horror movie. In a standard horror movie, it would have ended with them killing the witch, the main witch.
Yeah.
Or her being
have.
like, okay, I'll sign your book, Satan, die.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely
right. He
right.
wakes up and everything's fine.
Cutting
the
his throat, and then
back
Satan's
at the
like, no,
plantation.
what a world. And then it's like, dude, it's like, it's like, come on. That's not
what a world.
No, yeah.
She was a witch too, though.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So it's, I like that they went in that direction.
I agree.
Everybody's
Totally agree.
happy. It's you belong to me now.
Mm-hmm.
You do what I say, and she just accepts it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
And she's happy.
Yeah, and she's happy about it. Just fuck it.
Like JP, I came in to this with a rating in mind already, but as we talk about it and get into the deeper, finer points of it, the appreciation for the film grows even more.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, like I said before, and like JP just said, the rewatchability does play a factor to me. If it rates very highly, it's one of those movies that I could literally finish it and then go back and I will watch it immediately again. Yeah. The Exorcist, I will do that. I will watch The Exorcist twice in a row. You know what I mean?
And you're fine.
So for that reason, I feel like I can't give it a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
That's just not fair in my mind as far as the scale goes. So I will join you, Nay, in giving The Witch 8 out of 10 silver cups.
I see. I was only off by half. It's all right.
That's the closest we've been in a minute, I think.
No, it's pretty good.
Well, like I said,
for the three of us,
it's a good movie. Like I said, it's a bit short, and
surprisingly short.
Sometimes it is hard to understand. When they're hither and this and that shit. But I mean, it's a good movie. You can't if you pay attention, it's a really good movie.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate The Witch, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Twitter at @ThePodMortem. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Twitter at Blood and Smoke, at RealStreeter84, and at TravisMWH. And remember, never go into the woods without your parents' permission. Not even for apples. Until next time.